Is it, oh, you already started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it
I
what?
was like, should I have a blanket underneath my legs or underneath my seat or something? I'm trying to figure out
Are
how
you
to
cold or just like a support type of
comfortable.
Yeah.
comfortable thing.
Well, I guess not. Maybe not today. Maybe
Not
tomorrow.
for this one. There we go.
Okie dokie. Let's see what the book of knowledge has to bring today.
We are on April 3rd. Happy April 3rd. And today we are going to learn about deceived and divided.
Deceived and divided. Okay. Let's try that.
I'm excited. Seneca. Before Seneca, deceived and divided, to remind us, our theme for April is unbiased thought.
Unbiased thought.
So, deceived and divided. Let's see what it means in the context of unbiased thought. Seneca says, "Circumstances are what deceive us. You must be discerning in them. We embrace evil before good. We desire the opposite of what we once desired. Our prayers are at war with our prayers, our plans with our plans." Whoa. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Our prayers are at war with our prayers, our plans with our plans. I 100% relate to that.
Yeah.
We are deceived and divided internally. We are deceived because we embrace evil before good. Like, why would that doesn't make sense to embrace evil before good? Like, we're deceiving ourselves. We desire the opposite of what we once desired. I think that's in like the dividedness. Like, hey, we're here and then we're there, and then we're here and there and here and there, and our prayers we're with our prayers and our plans with our plans. So we have no like internal consensus over what the right thing is, or how to see this, and then maybe because of that we are deceived. Maybe that's why deception is so easy, because we're constantly having these thoughts go through that are so divided that it's so easy to just say, okay, I'm gonna latch onto this thought, and this thought is gonna be reality now.
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing kind of like these opposites of opposites in the way that like we are in our own way or something. Like that's how I'm kind of looking at it. Like you pray for something, and then you kind of like almost sabotage it when it's coming or something, or like you don't know how to deal with it when that which you are praying for is now in your possession. You don't know how to deal with it, and so then you lose it or something, right? So it's like we are like in our own way, or like we have plans to we plan something, but then we don't go into execution of that plan, or we do, but we continuously question that plan, and it's this kind of like we're unsure, we're never almost sure or something. Like we make a decision, but is that decision really made, or can we take it back? There's this kind of
or
like,
is it the right decision?
Is it the right decision? And so it's like this kind of a paradox of like on one hand we want something, and we're praying for a better something in our lives, but then maybe life gives us some answers of how to go do that, and we say to that, well, I don't want to do that. Right? So it's like we are our own worst enemy, who are in our own way to get the things that we really want, or we're really after. It's just inside of here.
Yeah.
the barrier to get to that.
Yeah, well, deceived and divided in here, maybe the opposite of deceived is like wisdom or like being attuned with reality. And then the opposite of divided is united.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, of course, like if you look at the opposite of that, then deceived and divided, of course you are your own worst enemy.
Yeah, yeah, because it would be like truth and
Unity.
oneness.
Right, truth
Yeah.
and oneness or something.
Truth
right.
and oneness versus division and
Ignorance.
yeah, or something.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, sweet.
And I like that the way that Seneca is talking about it is like almost like we are already like this ignorant and divided person. Like we can study philosophy and we can aim towards the truth and oneness ideal, but it's also good to recognize and be okay with and accept the fact that we are deceived and divided.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I like that because I see that cycle of like being born and have the it's very, everything is true, right? There's no lies, there's no deception. Everything is united. Everything is just this thing, like you know what I mean. And then so ultimately you think of life as this wonderful thing, and then we kind of learn something, and then we start thinking about life as like, no, it's not this wonderful thing. It's this, life is hard and life is tough and I have to do many things and all of this stuff. And then we have to almost unlearn that to come back to that truth and the oneness of like, oh no, it is actually all about just experiencing it and just being the more we spend in like a nice like state, the more we kind of enjoy it or something, you know what I mean? So it's like, and that equals again the living according to how we were brought in here with this innocence and this truthfulness and this oneness. Then our brains took on all of this information and they said, no, that's not how it is. We created these pseudo realities, and now the job is to unlearn them back to the actual truth, which is we don't know who we are. We're just here observing all of this, you know, something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Sure, it sounds like what you're saying like is like the deception and the divisiveness comes out sometime in early childhood or something like that.
Well, I'm just saying like that's our nature. That's how we were brought here with that. Like that's our actual nature. But then somehow
what is our nature? What aspect?
Truthfulness.
Oh, truthfulness. Okay.
And unity.
Truthfulness.
Like truth and unity and oneness is our nature, and then we learn something or on top of that, and that takes over, and now we're thinking we are divided, and there's a lot of deception. And we're deceiving ourselves, we're deceiving others, all kinds of stuff. And what I'm saying is that the purpose of life maybe is to try to bring it back to that understanding of that unity and truth or something.
Yeah, I'm with you everywhere except like we are born as truthfulness, as the truthfulness part. I see how we're born as oneness because we come from our mom's body. And so like during that time we're like part of this bigger ecosystem and it's undifferentiated, and so it's this big oneness. And so we're coming from that out into this world where we're like a separate like our bodies are separate from each other. So I see how we're born from oneness, and maybe like we're born from truth, because truth is just whatever reality actually is. So we're coming from that place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then we are coming into this human body whose brain, psychology, genetics are all structured in such a way that everybody will differentiate themselves, and they will have that experience of being divided and ignorant just being like, I don't see the full picture of what's going on around me. And so in that ignorance, I'm deceiving myself. And I don't know that I'm deceiving myself, actually, most of the time, because it's not known what information is missing from my worldview. And so then, yes, if where I come from is this place of oneness and truth, then my life task, ultimately, once I figure out how to feed myself, clothe myself, take care of myself, have relationships with other people, like once I figure all of that out, my life's task is trying to get more to the place of truth and oneness. Okay. Yeah. Did I capture what you were saying? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's deep. You want to do Ryan?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay, everyone. Did you stay with us? We got it.
Come back. Let's come back.
Here we are. We're going to go with Ryan Holiday's excerpt here. A woman says she wants to meet a nice guy and get married, yet she spends all her time around jerks. A man says that he wishes he could find a great job, but he hasn't actually bothered to do the looking. Business executives try to pursue two different strategies at the same time. Straddling, it's called. And they are shocked when they succeed at neither. All of these people, just as is often true for us too, are deceived and divided. One hand is working against the other. As Martin Luther King Jr. once put it, there is something of a civil war going on within all of our lives, a war inside each individual between the good parts of their soul and the bad. The Stoics say that war is usually a result of our conflicting desires, our screwed up judgments, or biased thoughts. We don't stop and ask, okay, what do I really want? What am I actually after here? If we did, we'd notice the contradictory and inconsistent wishes that we have, and then we'd stop working against ourselves. I love it. It's like you were saying, like your own worst enemy or something, or you get something you think you want and then you don't let yourself enjoy it. And around we go all day, every day.
Yeah. That's a very, very close friend of mine.
Yeah. I know that well.
I know that friend well.
Well, what's interesting is Ryan calls out like what's causing that in us. So he says it's usually the result of our conflicting desires. I mean, that would take a while for me to unpack exactly like what our conflicting desires are and like why are they occurring. You know, what sets that in motion for us to have conflicting desires. But he says three things, so that's one of them. The other one is, and stop me if you have, okay, so the other one is our screwed up judgments.
Judgments,
Yeah, judgments. I mean, like there's some obvious judgments, like name calling or something like that. But it's not always so obvious that I'm judging something.
Yeah, to in my head, it's like a judgment is like a superficial look onto something, and then making decision or forming an opinion based on that superficial understanding.
Yeah.
And so,
But what's bullshit
because
is
you could
that
have a judgment, you could have like an opinion, which is a judgment in theory. But if you know that you went to the depths of your understanding of, and you spend time with trying to understand it, then I get that. Like you did some analysis, you try to figure out what is the actual answer to this thing. But a lot of times that opinions are formed from the superficial. The person who goes deep almost says, hey, you know what? I understand it good enough that it's probably not this way and probably not that way.
yeah.
It's some sort of a weird combo, right? And then it's the people who are saying it is like this. That's when you know that they actually didn't go deep
Yeah.
enough, because they're calling it from the superficial, from the surface understanding or something, you know?
Yeah. And the bullshit thing is it's not always obvious when you haven't done the deep dive into something. Like sometimes I will have a judgment about something having thought that I've done my research on, you know, X, Y, or Z, and then life will show me with some situation that in fact I haven't done that work, because otherwise my judgment would have been correct and it would have produced a positive outcome, and meanwhile I'm in some weird situation. So like clearly that wasn't the right way of looking at the thing. And so like sometimes it's, you know, and that's where that self-deception comes into play of like, well, fuck, like I can't actually ever get to the point where I will know with certainty if the judgment I'm having right now is like reasonable, or is it one of these screwed up judgments that Ryan's talking about.
Yeah.
So that's also interesting.
Yeah, and that's, yeah.
And then biased, there were three things.
I mean, I would, on that one, I would probably say something about like how it like what is the tone of the internal voice, or like trying to recognize not the words that the internal voice is saying, but how is the internal voice saying it? Like the tone and the intensity and like these other things besides the words. Sometimes it's like very like no, like it's, you know, it has
maybe
this,
speed too.
like speed as well, yeah. And so it's like how, because like how do you catch it again? Like how do you know, right? You don't really know, but yeah, this is great. Just kind of going deeper into these holes and looking around. What, that could be like that. Oh, what, it could be like that. Like that's crazy. Okay, wow. Okay, let me go make some egg sandwiches, right? Like having those moments throughout days where you kind of going to question your own things,
like question the judgments.
Question the judgments is like that's the action item for myself from this.
Yeah.
Like keep trying to notice them.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. And the third thing he was saying, just for our record, is unbiased thought. Or biased thoughts. Biased thought is the other thing that like screws us up and gets us deceiving ourselves.
Biased is I remember these two always flipped. Unbiased and biased.
Biased is, yeah, like you are.
You have opinion.
You're courting like a certain like point of view on something that's like favorable or unfavorable towards like a group of
group, like a
people
group thinking
or
type of a thing.
yeah. So, and that to me sounds like kind of another way of saying the screwed up judgments piece of like, hey, I'm not using the right information to base my decision of my point of view on reality on. So, yeah.
Sweet.
That's a good one today.
Yeah.
Let us know what you took from it. And then I guess we're good to go.
Let's
We'll
do it.
see you here tomorrow.